Hey guys, and I am coming to you again from the beach in Abu Dhabi at Shoptalk Luxe, and oh my goodness, do I have an amazing interview coming up next. Now, as someone who is obsessed with shopping, this is why I love podcasting at Shoptalk Luxe. I'm talking to all the luxury brands that I love, but something that's been happening more and more is this kind of Recommerce, resale, circular fashion. So next up, I have the GM of fashion and luxury from eBay, the fantastic Kirsty Keoghan, said your name right, who's going to be sharing some of the insights, trends, and specifically the things that are going on, I guess, on eBay in the world of luxury. So first of all, what's happening? Give me the kind of lowdown. There has been a big consumer, behavioural shift over the past few years. I know for me personally, and I don't know if this is swearing or not, but, Vinted and other brands have come in and they've changed how we all think about shopping. I think we're all a little bit more conscious, but also, let's be honest, it's not just about, I think everyone thinks that the consumer's conscious, but actually we kind of just want to save some money sometimes as well. So what's happening in the world of luxury when it comes to this kind of re-commerce?
Look, so eBay's 30 years old, so we've been in the re-commerce industry, so we haven't entered it, we've been in it for a long time, right? So OGs, as we like to say. And what I think has changed a lot, and I think this started to happen around COVID, really. I mean, there's a lot of good and bad things that we can talk about COVID, was I think what started to happen is customers or people got more conscious about the environment. Some people had less money to spend because they were working, or more time on their hands. And then I think what's happened since then is people's shopping behaviours and habits have therefore changed. And so however you're motivated, whether it's because you've got less money or whether it's because you want something unique and different, because let's be honest, back to the 90s and all of that is on trend, right? And everyone wants to not be wearing the same thing as someone else. They want something unique and different. So whatever your motivation, that is why a lot more people are shopping pre-loved fashion and luxury. So, we have a Recommerce report. Nearly a third of customers that we interviewed buy pre-loved every single month, right? And so that just says it's not like something that people were doing, it was on trend. It's something that people do all of the time. And I think some of the things that are really interesting when you think about luxury is lots of people want to trade up. They want to get something unique, something like great value. So it doesn't mean cheap. It just means they want to know that if they've spent £500, £1,000, £5,000, they're getting like the best that they can get for that money, right? Because everyone's wallet size is completely different. And so because of that, therefore people go and seek out where they can get that. And now, the McKinsey report, the State of Fashion, came out and said it's on average, it's different by market, but it's around 50% of customers will buy a luxury item on a marketplace, pre-loved for the first time, and then they'll go on to buy something brand new. So again, this is where brands need to think it's very different. The first interaction that a customer will have with the brand will be on a marketplace. So, and we've got 134 million buyers, over a $10 billion fashion and luxury business on eBay. So I just think, therefore, it has to be taken seriously. And so we've done a lot to change the perceptions around shopping pre-loved. And, for some of the reasons that I said, people are quite happy to embrace it. But then, we've had competitors enter the market ever since I've been at eBay, right? I mean, I could go back and talk about all the other competitors over the years. I actually just think competitors actually make it better for the consumer because it enables or pushes everyone to up their game, offer the best experience. So actually competition is probably a really good thing for the customer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I still feel like personally, for me, Vinted I see as more not fast fashion, but you can buy stuff a lot cheaper on Vinted, and people are selling a lot of stuff from Zara that you wouldn't traditionally have maybe thought about selling on a platform like eBay as much. Maybe I would have done I think I've done clothes bundles I've sold on eBay. But luxury, that I would still go, that eBay would still be my number one choice. In fact, I just bought a new Macage ski jacket that I managed to get for less than half price by coming to eBay. And I think that's what's quite interesting is eBay's a trusted brand. When you're buying luxury, when you're spending money, even though we really want, I want to get a deal. I'll be honest. Like, I don't want to spend £1,300 on a Macage jacket, but I'm happy to spend £500 or £600. The same even for a nice new Loewe bag or whatever it might be. I'm quite happy to go in and get a good deal, and I feel that one of the important things for me is trust. And I know that buying through eBay, it's a brand that's well known, that I've got the security in place, that it's not going to be a fake. So I think there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in terms of the consumer buying behaviour here that we could unpack. But I think for me, that's a really interesting one.
And that's one of the things that we are most focused on. And we believe at eBay that if you create trusted experiences where you have, you buy something or you sell something and you have a great experience, and there's no catch outs or anything like that, then you'll continue to buy and sell it on their platform. And it's not even just about whether customers buy and sell on eBay. Actually, you don't want to put anyone off buying and selling in the first place. It's not good for the environment, and stuff gets left in like when I think of the value of stuff that's in people's wardrobes that they haven't sold and they're not wearing, it's like it's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pounds, right?
It's embarrassing. So, it's really embarrassing.
So, you want to create that habit where people feel really comfortable, right? And that's why we've always had an eBay money-back guarantee. So it means that if something goes wrong, we'll step in. We have your back, whether you're a buyer or a seller. I think when we think about luxury and fashion, one of the things that I'm just most proud of that we've launched in all of our major markets is authenticity guarantee. And that really is what happens is if you buy when you brought your luxury jacket, it will now get automatically sent to an authenticity centre. We will check that and verify it. Is it real? And also, is it in the condition that you thought it was? So particularly when it comes to clothing, if you think of a jacket, has it got makeup on the collar, right? And it's not been listed. Again, if the customer was to receive that, that's not a great experience, right? And it probably put them off. So we verify the condition as well. And if it's not as expected, we will have a conversation. Do you still want that or not? We are aware. It's up to the customer. And then we tag that to say it's authenticated. Now, if you were to receive that jacket and you didn't fit you or what have you, it wasn't what you were expecting, you send it back and it goes back through the authentication centre so that you can't send us a fake item back, right? And I think that's what's so important, that we've created a programme that is there to help protect sellers and also protect buyers. And we've authenticated 15 million items across luxury watches, handbags, jewellery, clothing. And then another thing I'm quite excited about as well is we acquired a company called Certilogo a couple of years ago, who are actually here, my other team that I look after, as well as eBay Fashion. And they provide digital authentication. So they're in the likes of Armani, Stone Island, CP Company, and they'll have a tag in the item and you can digitally authenticate that item. So even if it was an item that might not have gone through an authentication centre or you brought it somewhere else, you can scan it and then you'll find out whether it's authentic or not. I think that's what's so amazing, that you can start to get into all of those other price points. It doesn't have to be a luxury item to just check it's authentic, because I don't want to, even if I've spent £50 on something, I don't want to get a £50 fake item. I want the real thing. So that's what we spend so much of our time focusing on. How do we create the best, most trusted experiences?
Yeah, love this. And it's a real, I think there's been a real shift in the market in terms of our buying behaviours and wanting to buy more.
Yeah,
I know I've got my opinion on it, and I'm not saying that I don't think people care about the planet, but I do think people are more conscious about, I guess, how they spend their money and not wasting and getting value.
Yeah.
Are there any insights, trends, because I feel like this circular fashion thing has become, it's so much more popular now than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, probably when you started at eBay, even 15 years ago. Why do you think that is? Are there any insights? What are the cultural things that are happening that are driving this? Is it a COVID thing? We've spoken about COVID quite a lot today, randomly.
I mean, I do think there is a good proportion. So when you interview customers, they will tell us resoundingly that actually they really care about the environment, right? And I do think that, to be honest, there are a group of customers that will only buy sustainably produced items or items pre-loved, right?
Yeah.
However, I think if you think about what's going on in the macroeconomic environment, really it comes down to people just, as I said before, people just want great value. And whether you're spending £5,000 or £5, you want to know that you've spent that in the best possible way. I think the beauty of Recommerce means that, and we see this behaviour with our customers, is sometimes what they'll do is they'll watch items. So they'll know, I want this specific handbag. And we can see that it will be in their watched items for, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. And then either once they've got the money or they've found the right item or it gets listed, the one that they're specifically looking for, then they go on and purchase that. But what's interesting is you see that they've sold loads of other things. So they might be selling their, the other like cheaper fashion items, and it helps them to trade up. And it's the same, like watches is really interesting because you really see the collector like behaviour where you'll buy a watch, you can see that they brought it, they'll have it for a year, and then they come back and resell it on eBay, and then they go on and buy a more expensive or a different brand watch. So it allows people to really sort of like trade up or change depending on trends, right? But do it in a more conscious way. So I think if customers feel like they're being more conscious, that's also like another added bonus, isn't it? So I got great value, and you should feel better about buying something pre-loved as well.
Because why not? Yeah, certainly. Like I've bought and sold a Rolex, and I bought it secondhand and obviously sold it. It was third hand or whatever it was. Like, and I'm quite happy with that. Like, I didn't feel the need to have a brand new Rolex because they hold their value quite well, and I think I actually made money off selling it. So I want to talk about how you connect with the customer, because obviously there's lots of younger consumers coming into market. I think they're my daughter, certainly, for sure, she's grown up in a world where this is quite normal. Having secondhand clothes is normal. Definitely wasn't normal for you. Like, I remember my mum like buying me stuff from Oxfam and be like, I am not wearing secondhand stuff. Like, it felt like, unless it was a family friend that had given us something, it wasn't cool.
I know you'd have that like memory of like that it's dusty or smelling, and you're like, no, I don't want to be seen in that. I'm not wearing. Remember, I always said, Mum, where'd you get me that from? She said, I got it from the charity shop, and I'd be like, I'm not wearing it. Like, straight away. Well, obviously not by that now, but that was just it's now.
Like, now I'm like, I want it to be secondhand. But I think the younger generation. My daughter's 17. Her shopping behaviour is very different to mine because she's grown up in a different world where there is eBay, there's Vinted. When I was her age, well, eBay was around, but only it was only just. I mean, the date stamp me. I'm 43, so like there just wasn't those options. It wasn't the world that we live in now is very different digitally. What's available. How do you, I know you're doing some really cool stuff with Love Island. This is kind of where I'm going with it. How do you make sure that you're connecting with that younger consumer?
Look, there's a few things that we do, but Love Island, you've mentioned it now.
I love what you're doing. We have to talk about
Look, that was one of the things that we did, sort of as we were coming out of COVID as well. And I remember having so Eve was our CMO at the time. She now runs the UK, and there was an opportunity for us to partner with Love Island, and it was all like, should we, shouldn't we? It's like, it was quite high risk. And I remember we were pushed by our boss at the time. He's like, you just got to do something culturally relevant. And we're like, right, how are we going to make this happen? And we did it, and I have to say it's been one of the best things that we've ever done. And still to this day, whenever I get interviewed, the thing that comes up time and time again, how's it going with Love Island? Because I just think it's like culturally relevant, and that's what people talk about. So that's why we did it. And I like working with them on the show. Like, we've really started to develop getting pre-loved involved more, and it was a risk for them, right? Moving away from a fast fashion partner to back to some of the negative connotations and thoughts of it. But when Amy, our stylist, meets the islanders that are going in, they know exactly. They're like, right, which bits can I get? These are my brands, because they're just amazed by the stuff that you can get on eBay. It's unique. It's not the same as everyone else as well. So Love Island is one thing, but then the other thing that we have done, or we've launched now in lots of markets, is live shopping. So the ability to be able to shop live. And I think when it comes to luxury items, I think people trust people. And so if you've got someone that can tell you about the handbag or the watch and its story, and it doesn't matter how many times or how many people have owned it, but if you can talk and bring that story to life, like, why is this handbag this much money? Because, you can show off the quality and all of that, then I just think it brings it to life. It's much more engaging. And again, it's just, people are on their phones a lot, whether we like it or not. And it's just a different way of absorbing content and shopping, which is just much more interactionable. And so I think we launched live. We weren't even sure it was going to be successful with luxury items, because that's a lot, right, in a short space of time. But we've had watches, go for $1 million, in the US, right, in live shopping, right? So the customer is there, and I think, it just brings it to life in a really nice way for customers and sellers. They love to be able to tell their story as well, where they've sourced it from and all of that other stuff. So we're really, really excited about live shopping.
I am obsessed with live shopping, by the way, but I do. It's like, one, also, I'm all about people-powered marketing, and people trust people. Like you say, you can tell your story so much more authentically, but you can also show off the product so much more authentically. Like, I'm much more likely to invest and probably spend more on a product if I've seen it on a live, I've seen, whether it's a clothing item or a luxury bag or whatever it might be, because you can see the intricacies, you can see, so it makes sense. I'm still so shocked that it's taken so long for a lot of brands to adopt, and you see it a lot on Instagram and in other places. So your live shopping is in platform now.
Yeah, it's on eBay.
Yeah, on eBay. Yeah, I think I have seen it, actually.
Yeah, and we work with mostly business sellers, or sellers that we know that we've got a relationship with them, so we know that there's no scams out there. So again, back to trust. We've tried to scale the amount of sellers that can be involved in live very considerably, because we don't want people to have a terrible experience, and we want to make sure that we've got sellers on there that are set up, they're doing a great job, can offer a great service, and they're able to present the amazing stuff that they've got. So it's great.
I love it. I'm really, really excited to see some of these trends starting to be brought to life across platform. And I guess it was a little bit influenced from initially social media, but now it's like social almost inside the commerce platforms, and I love, because that's how we're used to shopping, right? Like, I find most of the stuff that I want to buy probably on Instagram, and then I'll go to eBay or wherever it might be to go and find and buy that product. So if you can shop in the same way in platform, it makes sense.
Just changes the way people shop. It's fun.
Love it. Thank you so much. There's so much more that I want to ask you, but we're on like a tight time schedule here with the podcast at Shoptalk Luxe. But thank you so much for joining me, Kirsty. I am thinking I'm going to get you back on, and we can deep dive into some of these.
I'm not into find out what you've been buying and selling.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I will do. Yeah, you can probably check me out on eBay. But big thank you for joining.
Thank you.